Hello, I'm Bergen County Executive Jim Tedesco, and welcome to the 2021 State of the County Address. As you can see, we are delivering the State of the County in a different format this year. Instead of being in front of a live audience with media, local officials, and employees, for the first time I'm delivering this speech in a safe and socially distanced way. Bergen County, like so many communities across our nation, is in the midst of an unprecedented COVID-19 pandemic. As of today, our county has more than 67,000 positive cases of COVID-19, and sadly, 2,322 members of our Bergen County family have lost their lives. Please take a moment with me to remember those who are no longer with us. Nearly 1 year ago, on March 3rd, 2020, we were joined by state and local public health officials for a press conference about the 2019 novel coronavirus. At the time, there was little confirmed information about COVID-19. Much of what was being reported was speculative, causing frustration and worry to grow among the public. As a 45-year firefighter and emergency manager, I knew that clear and coordinated action, preparation, and communication are essential in times of crisis, and we had to cut through the noise and focus on facts, not fear. We started planning for the COVID back in February, and with cases beginning to surface in neighboring New York City and Westchester County, it was important to share what we knew, what we were doing, and what to expect in calm and precise communication with the public. Just 1 day later, on March 4th, the first COVID-19 case in the state of New Jersey would be confirmed in Fort Lee, Bergen County. 6 days after that, Bergen County became the first county in the state with a confirmed death from the virus. This was not just a death, it was a life. It was not just a statistic, it was a member of our Bergen County family, and sadly, it would not be the last. Bergen County rapidly became one of the epicenters of the tri-state area. We all remember what it was like in those early days. Emergency rooms overrun, hospital beds approaching capacity, ventilators were in short supply. Frontline healthcare workers were overworked and exhausted. And to make matters worse, global supply chains for personal protective equipment ground to a halt. County employees, residents, and volunteers alike organized and responded. With the rise in cases, Bergen County Department of Health battled COVID-19 on a 24/7 basis. Contact tracing, and building a volunteer corps of medical professionals to assist hospitals at full capacity. Once we realized that lockdowns, closures, and social distancing would be our most effective way to stop the spread, we took bold and decisive action to protect you, our residents. One of the first actions was to suspend visits to county-operated nursing homes at Rockley and Bergen Newbridge Medical Center, in light of guidance indicating our seniors were particularly vulnerable. We also had to act quickly to protect the more than 200,000 students, teachers, and staff from the pandemic. On March 12th, in consultation with county health officials, the Bergen County Association of School Administrators, and local officials, my administration was the first in the state to order all public school districts in the county to transition to remote learning to stop the spread. We closed county facilities and all county parks to the public, but county government could not just stop. At a time when our services were needed the most, county workers had to pivot and quickly adapt to new ways to operate under this new normal. Using Teams and WebEx to work remotely, stepping up to work extra shifts to cover for coworkers, to continue to deliver services to our increasing affected communities. Our residential facilities had to find alternate housing, Our seniors now isolated, increasingly related to us as vital lifelines. And the animals at our zoo and shelter still needed to be cared for. With stay-at-home orders in effect and senior centers closed, the Bergen County Meals on Wheels faced the challenge of a drastic increase in demand. We had to retool the Meals on Wheels program overnight to respond to what became a 200% increase at the height of the pandemic. With expansion into 19 new towns, the program enlisted the help of the Bergen County Prosecutor's Office, the Bergen County Sheriff's Office, and several not-for-profit partners to deliver the meals. By the end of 2020, the program delivered over 600,000 meals, nearly double the previous year. We discovered that frontline workers who did not have the option to stay home had the added challenge of finding available child care. Through the Office of Children in the Department of Human Services, the county began assisting our frontline workers apply for child care. We connected to over 450 frontline families with vital child care services, allowing them to continue their vital efforts battling the pandemic. As COVID cases increased, we continued to plan and take measures to mitigate the pandemic. My administration held weekly calls with mayors, hospital, state and federal health and emergency management officials to provide updates, coordinate our efforts, and make sure we were getting vital information to our residents. All county departments and agencies put together extensive plans to ensure that our county was prepared to continue vital services and operations uninterrupted and ramp up response efforts. We had to make difficult decisions based on how the pandemic impacted us here in Bergen. That included the closing of businesses across the county. Some may have questioned these decisions at the time, but I know these actions slowed the spread of the virus and saved lives. Bergen County set the tone for the state and the entire region, who quickly followed suit and took similar action. In partnership with Bergen Newbridge Medical Center, on March 30th, we opened a drive-through COVID-19 testing site at Bergen Newbridge Medical Center for first responders, healthcare workers, and symptomatic residents. In my first State of the County in 2015, I shared with you my plan to chart a new path for the county's hospital. We had no idea at the time the pivotal role Bergen Newbridge Medical Center would play in our COVID response. Bergen Newbridge quickly garnered a reputation for being one of the premier hospitals in the state for handling the COVID-19 pandemic. As hospital beds in New Jersey began to dwindle, we set up a COVID-19 overflow ward with the assistance of the Army Corps of Engineers and FEMA in the gym of Bergen Newbridge, and then constructed two 50-bed alternate care facilities on the campus. The structures were built in 14 days as we prepared for the worst. This site would later transition to the county's vaccination pod with the capacity to issue 1,000 plus vaccines a day. Bergen County's COVID response was only possible because of the support and partnership with Bergen Newbridge Medical Center. And I would like to thank CEO and President Deb Fiscal for her tireless efforts working with our administration side by side throughout this pandemic. It has never been more apparent that management we put in place 3 years ago was the right team to lead our public hospital through its transition and the right team to be on the front lines fighting the coronavirus. We took our testing partnership a step further and developed a bold new plan to bring testing to every community across Bergen County. From May to the end of July, the Joint Mobile Testing Program offered saliva and antibody testing for all Bergen County residents, frontline workers, and first responders. Our first round of community mobile testing, including visits to 41 locations across the county, partnering at least once with all 70 municipalities in 11 weeks. The program would continue with a more regionalized approach in the fall, including special sessions for teachers and school staff prior to the start of the fall semester. To date, we have processed 74,952 COVID tests. But all of this response comes with a cost, and these costs continue to mount. Thankfully, with the passage of the CARES Act, federal action provided us with $162 million in relief to bolster our efforts and assist our communities. We supported our local partners by creating the Bergen County CARES Municipal Grant Program to provide relief for municipalities straddled with COVID-related expenses, ultimately distributing $14.7 million to help offset the unanticipated costs of the disease. We also provided $4 million in assistance to our 72 public school districts to meet the demands of the remote learning and to make their facilities safer. The pandemic also took a toll on local small businesses that now face the uncertain reality of whether or not they could keep their doors open, and they needed help. We used the federal funds to provide relief to local small businesses through the creation of the Bergen County CARES Small Business Grant Program. Businesses with 30 employees or less were able to apply for relief to cover rent, property mortgage, and utility expenses. In total, the program allocated $55.6 million to nearly 4,000 Bergen County businesses, employing nearly 80,000 people, with an average award of just over $14,000. Among the many challenges brought on by the pandemic, we had to make sure that county residents could feed their families. In July, spearheaded by the efforts of Commissioner Tracy Zuer, the county formed the Bergen County Food Security Task Force to tackle hunger and food insecurity issues affecting Bergen County residents. The task force serves as a critical matchmaker and facilitator, connecting local community-based food efforts with local food supplies to help overcome new hurdles brought on by the COVID-19. Funds were used to improve food distribution infrastructure, support 80 community-based pantries, and provide over 180 tons of emergency food supplies to respond to a 71% increase in pre-pandemic food security levels across the county. We also had to make sure that residents had adequate shelter. Building on our expertise and tireless efforts that allowed us to alleviate homelessness, the county expanded efforts to assist families facing housing insecurity. We entered into a partnership with the Board of Social Services to create Bergen Hearts Family Center, which serves as a single point of entry for all homeless families in Bergen County to access critical community-based services and financial resources. Hearts also offers emergency shelter for any Bergen County family experiencing immediate homelessness and provides housing for families who need a temporary place to live. While many of our county workers had to respond to the new challenges and increased need brought on by COVID-19, traditional county services continued to operate, and our departments had to move forward on essential projects. Despite the fact that our own workforce had to overcome many pandemic-based obstacles, our Division of Public Works continued to resurface roads, repair culverts, and fill potholes. We were able to continue our annual road resurfacing projects for county roads, including paving the Franklin Turnpike in Mahwah and the Washington and New Milford Avenues in the borough of Dumont. The Department of Planning and Engineering advanced over $100 million in federally funded critical infrastructure projects on major county arteries, including the Market Street-Essex Street Bridge on the border of Saddlebrook, Lodi, and Rochelle Park, and the East Anderson Street Bridge connecting Hackensack and Teaneck. Bergen County Parks Department broke ground on the highly anticipated large-scale $5.6 million habitat restoration project at the Teaneck Creek Park and continued to make improvements across our 9,000 acres of county parks. Together with the Board of Commissioners, We allocated over $19 million in grants from the Open Space Trust Fund in the form of 78 grants to municipal and local nonprofit organizations. These funds supported projects throughout Bergen County to boost public access to outdoor recreation, conserve and acquire open space, and enhance dozens of municipal and county parks. In the days of social distancing and working from home, parks and recreation became an even greater lifeline to our residents to get fresh air and entertain their families. In addition, the county furthered our commitment to utilizing clean and renewable energy by adding electric vehicles to the county fleet and installing EV charging stations at 1 and 2 Bergen County Plaza and at the county zoo at no cost to taxpayers. I also want to acknowledge 2 huge accomplishments which will have a lasting impact on our county. The first pertains to the 2020 U.S. Census. Bergen County had a record response rate of 76%, 3% higher than in 2010. This is incredibly important because an accurate count of our population will ensure fair political representation and will influence many aspects of public life and federal funding. I would like to thank Bergen County Commissioner Jermaine Ortiz for her efforts leading the county's 2020 census response. The second accomplishment was the successful administration of the first ever all vote-by-mail election in the presidential year. Thanks to the efforts of election staff under the leadership of Bergen County Superintendent of Elections Patty DeCostanza, Board of Election Chair Jamie Sheehan Willis, and Bergen County Clerk John Hogan, Bergen County saw a record turnout in total numbers of votes and percentage. Achieving 75% turnout during COVID was over 500,000 residents exercising their constitutional right to vote is something to be proud of. Thank you to all residents who responded to the census and cast a ballot in the election. Your civic participation is essential to protecting our democracy. COVID-19 presented unique fiscal challenges for all governments, especially county and municipal governments. Despite those challenges, we needed to continue providing necessary services expected of county government, like roads, bridges, parks, police, fire, nursing, childcare, social services, and education. At the same time, revenues for local governments across the county have fallen dramatically, and expenses for COVID testing, public health response, and mitigation efforts fall on our shoulders. This creates a huge burden on all counties and all towns. Fortunately, the fiscal team and budget planning we've put in place here over the past 5 years help prepare us for the unforeseen challenges. Our fiscal team continued their diligent work, ensuring county government kept operating in an efficient and fiscally responsible way. Despite the strains COVID placed on us, Bergen County was able to maintain its AAA bond rating. In issuing their rating, Moody's said, "The AAA long-term ratings reflect the county's large tax base, strong finances, favorable location, and modest debt and pension burden. The stable outlook on the long-term ratings reflect our expectations that while the county's finances will be negatively impacted by the pandemic, they will remain resilient and will recover rapidly." Although the county received CARES funding to assist our efforts in 2020, we are still waiting for word from Washington on future assistance. I'm confident that our strong fiscal management and the steps we've taken will help prepare us for the difficult times to come. The 70 towns in Bergen County, like communities across the country, are facing tough choices in 2021. Even with the help from Washington, on behalf of all of us at the county and local government, I want to urge our leaders to come together in a bipartisan way to help state and local governments who have been so greatly affected by the COVID and who are on the front lines in this fight. And so now what's next? I'm here to tell you, I see light at the end of the tunnel. COVID-19 cases are starting to decline, but we are not out of this yet. We must remain ever vigilant. Families are still hurting, especially renters who are inches away from eviction. In the coming days, my administration will be releasing details on a new rental assistance program using CARES Act funding. Unlike many homeowners who have had mortgage forbearance, there has not been any assistance to renters. This program will help renters in Bergen County receive much-needed relief. I always say that Bergen County is the best place to live, work, and raise a family. That is why I'm excited about a visionary new project set to break ground later this year that includes workforce housing right here in the downtown of Hackensack at 133 River Street. This project, an innovative partnership with New Jersey Transit and the city of Hackensack, will transform one of the busiest bus stations in the state into an innovative transportation hub and investment in our transportation infrastructure. While the county is planning for the future and continues its daily work, the pandemic is not over, and my administration's #1 priority for 2021 is to reach herd immunity in Bergen County. Vaccination efforts at Bergen Newbridge Medical Center have reached over 30,000 residents so far. We know the difficulty you all are having with finding appointments due to the limited supply of vaccine, and we ask for your patience and understanding. But I give you my word, I will do everything in my power to get more needles in the arms of our residents. My administration will continue working tirelessly with federal and state agencies to increase vaccine supply. I visit the Newbridge vaccination site on a regular basis, and when I talk to our residents getting vaccinated, I see their emotion. They tell me finally they feel like they can imagine getting back to normal again, seeing their grandkids, seeing their friends. One of the hardest things about this pandemic is that we are social beings. Humans form communities. We've continued to be a community in different ways, but we know how hard it has been on all of us. Personally, 3 of my grandchildren live in Bergen County, and I have not been able to see them as much as I would like. I have not been able to see my other 3 grandchildren who live in North Carolina in over a year due to the pandemic. And I look forward to the day I can see them all together. But this prolonged separation breaks my heart. I do believe that we are emerging from this long nightmare, and we will continue to be able to get back to normal the same way we've gotten this far, together. You know this county has been through a lot, from 9/11 to Hurricane Sandy. We were even hit by a tropical storm during COVID, knocking out power to some for nearly 2 weeks. And through it all, Bergen County shows a resilience and determination to keep moving forward. Through all of these challenges, Bergen County shows we must stick together because we are stronger together. We comfort our friends and neighbors who have lost loved ones. We feed our neighbors when they are hungry, and we treat each other like family. We were the hardest hit county in the state, but we hit back even harder, and everyone played an important role. Let me thank you, the residents, for putting your faith in my administration to lead Bergen County through these difficult times. I want to take this opportunity to thank our frontline workers who provided life-saving care, often at their own peril. Thank you to our first responders who continue to protect and keep our community safe. Thank you to our teachers and staff who continued to educate our children, whether in person or virtually. Thank you to the individual residents, civic organizations, and businesses who donated over 350,000 pieces of PPE when it was in short supply. Thank you for continuing to follow the CDC guidelines by wearing a mask and social distancing. Thank you to our dedicated county employees who went above and beyond in service to their fellow residents. As we emerge from this pandemic, I am confident that we will come back better than before. Our community is stronger than any virus, and that is because we are Bergen County strong. Thank you, and be safe.